dreams are never defined by age. And with this, what I mean is everyone sitting in the room is sitting with a dream. And that is exactly all of us are going to deep dive into what my dream was and how it looked like. Dreams are the most powerful weapon a human can possess. And when I say this, it's because dreams do not come with a cost, dreams never have a price, and most importantly, dreams never have a deadline. The dream that you dreamt at the age of 21 can still be pursued at the age of 90, which is why dreams are the most invaluable weapon the human can possess. Moving on to the difference between what a purpose and a dream is, I believe all of us in the room are entrepreneurs ourselves. So the difference between a dream and a purpose is very simple. The purpose of an entrepreneur could be to solve problems for the society and build companies that simplify human life. But the dream of an entrepreneur can be to build a $3 billion startup, can be to own a Lamborghini, or could be anything in that case. Now that all of us know about what a dream looks like, there's a story I want to narrate. A story of two animals, one being a dog and second being the lion. So there's a master who's consistently throwing 100 bones at both of these animals. But the response of these animals is different from one another. The way a dog reacts is he would jump and grab every single bone for 100 times. But if you do that and replicate with the lion would rather go and grab the whole sack. Because he foresees himself, he foresees the larger picture of grabbing 100 bones at once. All of us in the room have a lion attitude. It is just that we need to unleash and live our lion attitude in the days to come. Moving on, the principle, which is also called as 3 rules of a dream, is basically 1/3 of the time that you spend while you're pursuing a dream goes into feeling bad. 2/3 of the time that you spend while pursuing a dream is normal. And for the last time, it's completely fine to feel crappy. Which means during the course of a dream, it's really essential to go through all of these phases. Everyone here, I want you all to imagine of what your dream looks like. Right? So there's a driving force that drives every person's dream in this room. For us to realize what that driving force is very essential, since that is what will keep us hooked until the very last moment we achieve our dreams. So the driving force for a dream can be very simple as loss of a loved one, can be to explore the unexplored, could be failure, could be fame, could be realizing that you are capable of much more than what you are today. My story is all about a failure. I started playing the sport badminton at the age of 6. I played badminton for around 8 years, and after 8 years, when I was in my 12th grade, I realized that this is not the sport that is unleashing the lion in me. So what I did was, one fine day, I sat down and I decided that badminton was not the sport I was good at. This was probably the toughest moments in my life wherein I had to give up on a sport I dedicated literally all 8 years of my life. And then, one fine day, the dream that I'm going to be talking about today is what I am standing as the Iron Man. The Iron Man, in very simple terms, was my dream, and I started it 3 years ago. An Iron Man is nothing more but the world's toughest endurance race. The world's toughest endurance race comprises of 3 sports, one being swimming, the second being bike, and the third one being run. This triathlon comprises of a 3.8 kilometers of swim, followed by a 180 kilometers strenuous bike with the double altitude of how much you would climb Nandi Hills at. So when you climb Nandi Hills twice on a bike and cover the distance along 180 kilometers, that is exactly how much the bike is for an Ironman event. Followed by a small run of 42 kilometers, which most of the people call it a full marathon. That was my dream. Let's get started to how I started prepping up for the dream, and let's all go through the journey of from a boy from Kolhapur until the journey where I received the title of Ironman in Australia, Cairns 2021. This is what my normal schedule looked like. This is probably the pictures where you won't realize what time of the day it is, but it's 3:30 in the morning, wherein I had to complete around 26 kilometers of run. The best part about the middle picture here is all of us in the room might feel that Ironman is so strenuous when it comes to training. But the best part about Ironman is you get to sleep as much as you want. Because if you don't get recovered after your workout, it's not worthy of doing a workout after you don't sleep. So that is me with my dog. He was my sleep partner. He was the one who's been there with me throughout. That is probably one of the pictures wherein I'm chalking down the weekly schedule of the miles I have to finish. Talking about the best part of my journey, when I started on this journey, I asked my parents if they were okay with me skipping on one academic year in my life. And trust me when I say this, I still have goosebumps. My parents didn't even give it a second thought. The same moment my mom replied, "You can go for it." She did not even get a second thought, I'm pretty sure about that. Also, one incident I would like to share is, so for this event, you particularly have to buy a cycle that's worth around 3 lakhs to 4 lakhs. And then I had to convince my dad to, buy a cycle, buy all of those equipments. But it was not that tough. Dad told me one simple thing: take 7 days of your time, and on the 7th night, you tell me what the decision is, because it's going to affect you for a lifetime. And on the 7th night, I still remember when I was sitting with my mom and dad, and I said, yes, I want to do it no matter what. On the 8th morning, when I woke up at 5:30 for my first training day, my dad had kept the cycle right beside my bed, 5:30 in the morning. That is how much my parents have always put the trust in me. And for everyone who's watching in the audience and the talk as well, I feel it's not just about the dreamer, but it's also about the person who gives him or her the freedom to dream. That is what exactly my parents stand for. In this journey, it's not just been my journey, but it's been a journey of so many others who have played a part, who've played a big role in, and I feel they deserve the title of Iron Man as much as I do. He's my best friend in the slide, more like a brother, Yash, and I would especially mention him for 2 reasons. First being, he never said no to me. But that's again selfish of me because it was my benefit at the end of the day. Because he did not say a no. At 4:30 in the morning, I'm referring to the time 4:30 because that was the usual training time I used to get up at. One fine day I had to complete a 140-kilometer bike ride. And that day there was literally no one as a support crew. So whenever cyclists go for a long ride, there has to be a support crew who supports them, who's there in case of any emergency or whatsoever. I called up this man at 4:15 in the morning, and I said, Yash, I need you in 10 minutes. And believe me, guys, he was the one who came in the next 10 minutes. He was right at my door, and he said, whatever it takes. And I still remember that he was there burning at 3 p.m. in the afternoon just because he wanted his friend to get done with his long ride. So like I said, there have been several people who have played the journey with me as much as I have. I want to talk about my coach who looks more like a brother. He's India's fastest Ironman at the date. So you can see us in a swimming pool. He's running around with me. My coach has taught me one simple thing that I want everyone to remember and understand, which is it's not about the title. It's not about me achieving Ironman. It's more about how much invested I am in the process. It is how much I trained day in and out, how much of a dedication I showed up on a daily basis. That is exactly what my coach taught me. On a Monday, on a training schedule, we had an off on the Monday. And Mondays used to be the day where everyone was dead asleep till 12 in the afternoon. But me and my coach spent our Mondays, and I still remember, writing down books, watching movies, dipping into unexplored waters, maybe figuring out our training schedule for the next week. And that is exactly how much he taught me to be invested into the process and not the title. This journey was not a straight line at all. It was all about roller coasters, and extremes were a part of the journey. The only reason I signed up for this competition because I wanted to do something that was extreme. This is me at 7:30 in the night cycling out because this was the first day I ever missed an alarm. I had a training day at 5:30 in the morning, which I missed for no reason. And here I am cycling twice the distance I was assigned. That did not come like a punishment, but I still remember on this day when I was so disappointed with myself only for the fact that I could not get up on one alarm. This is probably what my Monday looks like, a Monday morning bath in freezing temperatures, in freezing water cold temperatures, getting my body ready for the next week ahead. Moving on to the next part of it, sea swimming and ocean swim has always come as the toughest part for most of the Indian triathletes, since swimming in the ocean is something which is unexplored, which is dangerous, and at certain times, swimming in the ocean has also caused death. This is me practicing for the first and last time ever in Indian open waters, and I am terrified. I've already had 1.5 liters of salty water in my mouth, but I'm still trying to get my workout done. All of this really seems fine, and all of this really seems exciting for you and for me as well. But the journey had just started. The journey had just begun. What I want to talk about is the disappointment when I was sitting one fine day on a dining table. I was so much excited that I had my race on the 6th of next month, and that is when I realized that my mom was in tears for some reason. My mom was in tears because of the fact that she knew my race was cancelled, and she didn't know how to express this to me. She was clueless because she had seen me training for a year. I'd given up on social media. I slept 7:30, woke up 4:30. I had done everything that was possible. And my mom comes to me in tears and she's like, Aryan, I want to tell you something. Please calm yourselves down. Like, Mom, please go ahead. I'm okay with whatever it is. Because what might happen at the worst is my race getting cancelled. And I was expecting that because of COVID and the hard times that the world has to face. And I replied with one simple sentence. In the tone my mom was asking me, she said, Aryan, your race has been cancelled and I don't know what to say. She didn't have words. I said, it's okay. I'm so much into the process. I'm so much invested and I'm enjoying the process so much that I can do it. I have so many years later in my life to complete what I've left. But that was not the end. I'd got hit with COVID-19 twice. So whatever fitness I had earned in a year is what I had lost in 14 days. And sleeping on the bed of that hospital, I was just trying to contemplate and imagine what my life would look like. And this is probably what my life would have looked like when I came down to Bangalore, and it was all of a youthful city with people partying every single day. Saturdays, Sundays, Fridays, used to be in bars, pubs. I was getting influenced by people around me. I don't judge them because that is the life they've chosen to live. It's just that it did not hit my head. It did not resonate with what I was wanting from my life. So probably this is where I would have been when I came to Bangalore. Of course, managing it with my academic schedule, managing it with a lot of other things. I was staying in a PG, so the diet was becoming a tough thing for me to handle. And then one fine day when I was sitting, probably drunk in a bar, not sugarcoating it at all, with my friends, I just stared into the eyes and I realized that if this is what gives them happiness, if partying and dancing to the tunes is what gives them happiness and satisfaction, what is it that gives me happiness in life? And I would not call it a coincidence, but I think that was a turning point in my journey because at the same time, I received a text from my coach. Because he had seen me partying harder over three months that I stayed in Bangalore, that was the kicking point where I had to get back to my journey again. I realized that this journey is something that has given me happiness for a year, and I've left something incomplete. That is when I decided to go back to Kolhapur and miss a semester of exams. And trust me when I say this, I did not even call my parents. Might come as very unnatural to all of the students listening, but it didn't even hit my head that I'll have to convince my parents to miss an exam, miss a whole semester that to give as backlogs. So I started training again. I went from Bangalore to Kolhapur. I started with my daily schedule. And the worst part was, I'd lost all of the fitness that I earned over a period of 1 year. When I was there in Kolhapur on my first run, I still remember I'd earned 16 heartbeats. For the one sports enthusiasts who know what 16 heartbeats mean, it's really an improvement of a period of a year. So I'd lost 16 heartbeats in a period of 3 months. And then I realized that, okay, we have nothing now. All we have is 3 months in hand. And with whatever that happens, I have to complete an Ironman. I cannot leave and dream unfinished. So as you can see, that's probably the last moments of Kolhapur. When I was just trying to leave Kolhapur alone, I left alone to Australia, Cairns, because my parents could not accompany me. That is my coach, my friends, my gym training partners. And the journey from Kolhapur to Cairns began. Now, the chapter that I'm going to be talking about is my experience at the race location. When I'd left India, and I'll leave you shocked for the ones who are listening here, there's something called the screwdriver pain. I had a screwdriver pain in my thigh, right? So only my parents and my coach knew about this. The screwdriver pain was hitting me so hard that usually when you prep and ramp up for an Ironman, you train at a tempo pace. You run at least 8 to 10 kilometers before the race day. So my coach was like, rest, don't give it a try, because you already have a screwdriver pain in your thigh, and it might get worse at any point. I tried to run on the streets of Cairns, and I still remember I could not run 600 meters 3 days before the race. So then, one final option, all you can see, everything was said and done, niddling, icing, whatever you can possibly imagine, because this was 1.5 years all going for a waste at that time. This is my mama, who I did not tell in the first place that I had to go to a chemist store and buy a painkiller. Usually, painkiller is something that you avoid in the minimum before a race. And that too, especially before an Ironman race, painkiller comes as the worst enemy. I'd gone to a drug chemist store all by myself asking for medicines like we do in India. But I realized that in Australia, you don't get medicines until it's prescribed. So I went back to my room and I told my mama who's there with me, please don't tell it to anyone, but I have to take painkillers. Because if I don't take painkillers, I'm not sure if I'll be able to cycle or maybe even start off my race. And that is exactly at 11:30 in the night, with the race at 4:30 in the morning, where we are hunting down for 2 painkillers. As the day progressed, I took those 2 painkillers and I proceeded with the day. My race started at 6:30 in the morning, and the swim was 10 times worse than I had expected it to be. The more clearer the water is, the more saltier it gets. I thought, what's worse than India? What is worse than swimming in the waters of India? But the clearer the water is, trust me, it's saltier. But it just did not stop there. The currents were hitting me so hard, and I was not used to swimming in an ocean. Instead of swimming in 3.8 kilometers of swim, I ended up swimming 5.6. So you usually swim in a straight line, but if you check my map, after my swim is a zigzag because of the currents that were hitting on me. Coming to the next leg, which was cycling. Cycling has been the most favorite part of my journey. And as you can see, if I'm not sure it's visible, there's all salt over my body. So all that you can see on my thighs, my calves, my forearms, even my face is covered with salt because I've just got out of water and started cycling. Cycling, to be honest, won't sugarcoat it, won't lie to y'all, is the best leg of the triathlon. I enjoy cycling to the fullest. But last 40 kilometers were again tough. Because after 140, the heat started hitting me so bad that I could not resist sunlight on my back. And Australia heat is definitely dry heat. It's not like India. So when I climbed off the bike, just to start a 42 kilometers run, so there's 2 things that happen when you do an Ironman. When you get off the bike, you either have 2 options. It's to run a small 42 kilometer marathon, which in the world has been run by only 1% of the population, or you either quit. The most number of people that quit an Ironman is after the biking leg of the race. When I got off the bike, I was not able to stand on 2 legs. And the reason being, the muscles that you use in cycling are completely different from what's used in a run. So I was not able to stand for 2 minutes, and at that time I had two options, which was to quit was the first one, and the second one was to just keep running. I definitely had to choose the second one because I didn't have an option either. As I started running, as you can see, there's a man behind who's still trying to struggle, walk, and run. That is exactly all three of us were in a group trying to figure out what can be done in this race. Despite man was from Croatia, this lady over here was from Australia, and I'm a poor guy from India struggling to run. All three of us were in the same boat. I managed to run 22 kilometers at a proper pace. As soon as I got my stride back, I had a proper 22 kilometers run. But the real fun is not over yet. It just started. The worst experience of my race, which I would call it the fighting time of my life, where life has tested me at the max, is the last kilometers of the marathon. My muscles were so shocked, they were so condensed that I was not able to move it into a 120-degree angle. At that point, my mama said, everyone back in India knows that you're walking, please don't. That is when I realized that this journey is not only about my legs, it's not about how much I can do, but it's so much more about what it means to people back in India who are tracking me every single step. And trust me, I experienced that moment in life where people say, mind wins over body. That is exactly what I experienced. Those 22 kilometers didn't matter to me. What mattered to me was that my mind had won over the body. That made me cross the finish line in 13 hours. And some minutes, that's me on the finishing line after completing a 42 run. The story is not over yet. Like one of our speakers mentioned, right? You never know what to do next once you achieve a dream. I was clueless. Because 2 years of my life, I trained hard. I thought about this moment every minute. And now, all of it was just stunned. It was silence. It was silence within myself. Because for whatever I had trained for 2 years had all come to an end. And then I realized that this is just the start. So I don't know what hit my mind. I hit 30 push-ups after crossing the finish line because I realized there's more to it. It's not the end. And the commentator's words still reverberate in my eyes when I say this young man from India has still got a lot to achieve in life. And that was my journey. Moving on, I feel all of us here have a hidden lion inside us. And here I am to convince all of you that dreams never die, but the idea of dreaming does. What is it that is stopping you from hunting down your dream? Think, and I want each and every one of you to think on what is it that is stopping you from dreaming and hunting it down till you achieve it, till you stand on the finish line. And I hope that I experience your story as a listener on a TEDx stage. Thank you so much.